I'm going for a quick walk in the woods. I hope I don't make you too sick by my movement and walking. Made it out onto the road after going through the woods. I've been sitting inside for the last several hours, and it's starting to get dark and I needed to get out and get some fresh air. I read Psalm 13 and verses 5 and 6 stood out to me and I wrote them down. But I trust in your unfailing love. My heart rejoices in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord, for he has been good to me. And as I thought about that, I realized it's easy for me to go with verse 6 of chapter 13. It says, I will sing to the Lord, for he's been good to me. It's easy to think about how the Lord has been good to me when I think about my husband, my family, my house, my health, food. Just, I am amply supplied and provided for. The Lord has been good to me in those ways. But when I look at verse 5, I trust in your unfailing love. My heart rejoices in your salvation. It's a lot harder for me to think about or to understand God's unfailing love. That's something that for quite a few years I've just been praying about and wanting to understand better is God's love and my salvation, just to really, for my heart to rejoice in my salvation. And I just continue to wrestle through with that. I find that my understanding of God's love is so connected to what I see as his goodness to me, the things that he has given me in this world. So when life is hard and doesn't go the way that I want it to go, I find it very difficult to detach my understanding of God's love from that. I'm going to take a little break here so it's not so noisy and bouncy. So I find that I feel that his love has failed me when life doesn't go the way that I want it to. And I know I know it's not right, but that's how I feel. And that's what I've been struggling with a lot for the last few years. And so just trying to sort through that in my mind and praying and asking God to help me to rejoice in my salvation. That's the one, because all of these things can be taken from me. My family, my health, my home, food, all of that can be taken away from me. And it doesn't change God's unfailing love, and it doesn't change his salvation that he gives. So everything else can be taken away. Those are the things that I'm resting in when I think of his goodness and I sing of his goodness. I want to shift that to being rooted in his love and in my salvation rather than in the things of this world. And it's a scary thing to ask that because I don't know how God would answer that prayer. And so I just told him today that I don't really want to ask that because I don't know how he'll answer it. But if I can trust in his unfailing love, then that shouldn't scare me to pray that. And being assured of my salvation, I don't need to be scared of that either. So it's just some thoughts. I find myself since I haven't didn't have our Bible study meeting this last week, so I wasn't pressed to prepare over this past week. And so I've just relaxed, and I've been enjoying going through the Psalms and finished Nehemiah. So the more I went without that discipline, without that discipline in my life, or that press to get my Bible study done, I've found myself more and more lax. It's something I struggle with anyway, is to get up and spend time with the Lord and not put other things first. And so I just find it's gotten harder and harder. And like today, oh my goodness, it was, well into the afternoon before I finally was like, I need to spend time with the Lord, and sat down and read Psalm 13 and journaled and prayed and started working on next week's lesson, because it's coming in just a few days. I need to be ready to teach the kids. And I find such resistance in my spirit towards spending time with the Lord and just sitting down and doing that. It was just so hard for me today. And Thanksgiving Day, I spent the whole day just with my nose in the camera, filming and editing, my face in the computer, editing and working on that stuff. And then yesterday I said, I am not spending any time. Whenever I make my vlog, it's got to be one shot that I can just upload. I can't spend any time editing. I need to be outside. I need to not be on the computer and indoors all day. Another thing is, we've started watching a TV series, which we have not been into a series in a very long time. I mean, years probably. Since he's been off work, we've been watching 1 or 2 episodes each day. And so we watched some this afternoon, and I just getting wrapped up in technology too, that I don't know. I just don't like the place that it takes me. It's this vacuum, this sucks me in, and watching this show, I just want to watch more and more and more. I want to know who wins, and I want to see what happens to these guys, and I just want to sit on the couch until we finish watching the season. And anyway, I don't know, I'm rambling now, and I need to keep moving. But anyway, just some thoughts before I make supper tonight, and I'll just end on that note of challenging you. Do you trust in God's unfailing love? Does your heart rejoice in his salvation? Will you sing to the Lord because he's been good to you? I hope so. I hope you do it better than me.